morning, folks. This is Naeem Aslam, Chief Markets Analyst at AvaTrade. Welcome to our daily fundamental video analysis. In today's price action, it is all about two major factors. First of all, it is about the escalation of geopolitical tensions, something that we discussed yesterday. Because remember, yesterday's price action was pretty much pumped on this optimism that another vaccine is going to resolve all the problems. And we discussed this primary matter that, look, yes, vaccine is a very, very important and critical factor for the equity markets. But at the same time, we also need to pay attention about the ongoing unrest which is taking place in Hong Kong. Why? Because China, Beijing, all of a sudden, they decided to impose a security law which threatens Hong Kong's position as a financial hub. Now, Donald Trump obviously wants to show his immense and position with respect to controlling this geopolitical situation, and what he started to intervene in Hong Kong, and the Trump administration was mulling out a sanction against China. Now, as the recent development, what the Trump administration has done, they are targeting Chinese officials and for Chinese financial institutions. Now, because of this, we are seeing some sort of a retracement, a little bit taping of that bullish momentum that we've seen yesterday. As you can see in the chart, the Dow Jones futures are still trading to the upside. The momentum is still intact in terms of its upward trajectory, but the pace of the momentum, the magnitude of the momentum that we experienced yesterday when the Dow Jones, it surged over 700 points, and by the way, the index was only 5 points shy from closing from its critical level of 25,000. Now, speaking of these critical levels, when we look at the S&P 500 index, as you can see in the chart, it was only 9 points shy from closing from its critical level of 3,000. So, for investors, what does this all mean? Well, in terms of equity markets, the upward momentum is still very much intact. But any news or any optimism, any upward swings, you should consider. But I mean, traders may want to consider that with a pinch of salt. Why? Because the unrest over in Hong Kong does represent a massive threat to the current equity market that we are seeing or we experiencing currently in the equity space. Why? Because now US is threatening imposing sanctions on Chinese officials and Chinese institutions. As I said earlier, China is the second biggest economy in the world. It is a superpower at its own core. So it isn't the US isn't really playing with Iran or with other countries where they've just or Venezuela where they started to impose sanctions and nothing happened. Over here, you are expected to see a retaliation, and that action could also result in a way where China says, okay, I am going to sanction US officials and US institutions. And remember, we could see again the replication of this trade tension, what we've seen during the trade deal last August. That blueprint can very much, the blueprint of those strategies can very much come back, and then traders can start speculating on that. This is the primary focus for the equity markets today. Now, to finish off in the commodity space, today is Wednesday, and Wednesday is the day when we usually get those crude inventory data. But today, that data isn't going to hit the terminal. In fact, it is going to come tomorrow. But the most intriguing element with respect to crude oil prices, as we discussed yesterday, crude oil touched that 34 critical mark. Now it has retraced from that level, but remember last week we've seen another drawdown with respect to crude oil inventory data. Now the question which really stands in front of traders is that the level of 34 makes US shale oil producers a lot more comfortable in relative perspective to the situation that they faced a few weeks ago. So what does that mean with respect to production, oil production? Does that mean they're going to ramp up that production level again? What does it mean for the price? Given the fact that the demand is still very abate and feeble because of coronavirus and the impact and its influence on the global economy. That's all for today. See you guys tomorrow.